Good evening, everyone.
Recording in progress.
So, good evening. So, the topics today are knowledge is a treasure, but wisdom is the key. Knowledge speak, but wisdom listens. Now, I don't know how many of you have brainstormed this particular topic. In essence, these are very simple looking topics, but the most hardest thing to do in life is to define something. Every single person attending this session or watching the video knows what is knowledge and what is wisdom. So knowledge and again wisdom. This is a repetitive theme, right? But the problem is, how do you define like what is wisdom? The problem lies in explaining wisdom. Knowledge, to an extent, it's easy because knowledge can be skill, knowledge can be any ability. Right? Knowledge can be a lot of things. But what the hell is wisdom? Knowledge is a treasure, but wisdom is the key. Okay. Knowledge speak, but wisdom listens. Who have knowledge? Like, for example, if we take an individual, okay, the same person also have knowledge, but wisdom listens. How do you put all these things in words? Because in essay there is no scope for diagrams. You have to put everything in writing. You have to convey to the reader like what is knowledge, what is wisdom, according to whom? According to you again. So in that sense, these are not simple essays, right? Okay, now let's try to create a macro framework for both the topics. First of all, our basic understanding is what? Whether you agree or disagree with the statement. So that is a most underlying or most basic premise, right? Like knowledge is a treasure, but wisdom is the key. Okay. Now, there are multiple ways to look at this essay. First, let's see. Knowledge leads to wisdom, or wisdom leads to knowledge. That is one direct connection that we can establish. People who are wise are knowledgeable, or people with knowledge may not be wise, right? So it gets complicated from there onwards. So instead of that, we will take a very simple laymanish example, right? So knowledge is treasure. So any person with good knowledge, okay, or any person with knowledge is having a lot of assets in the sense, lot of value. Okay, but to use that for some productive purpose, for some good purpose, but for some welfare purpose, that is what that is where wisdom comes into the action. So any knowledge can be used for productive purposes, good purposes, or welfare purposes. Are you using for that? Yes or no is decided by yes. Okay, so that is also a very good question. Does that mean wisdom is always positive? Okay, it's like using the terms growth and development. Growth here can be synonym to knowledge, right? So knowledge can be dangerous and knowledge can be productive. Whereas when we say development, in most of the terms, we say it's a positive connotation. So in the same way, wisdom and development are always considered are in positive connotation. Wise, okay, you are wise. That is why you stopped doing this. Okay, not doing something is also wisdom. So doing something, not doing anything that protects you or promotes your knowledge or application of knowledge in the right time is wisdom, right? So yes, Pooja, in that sense, I personally will argue that wisdom is mostly 9 out of 10 times used in the context of positive things. Okay. So do you have some skill, ability, anything that you have? All those things can be considered as knowledge. Okay. Are you using it for right purposes? That is wisdom. Now let's not complicate things. We will take an example. Let's take an IAS officer. Okay, all of you are potential IAS officers. So all of you have a lot of knowledge. So knowledge is treasure. More Lakshmikant revision, more knowledge, and all these things is what? Knowledge. Okay, but now what is wisdom? Without knowing, how many questions to attempt, which questions to attempt. See, simple things like question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 85, 95, 100. Okay, so some people applies the, go to the question paper like from 1 to 100. Okay, but let's say from 85 to 100 there are only polity questions which you can do very easily, but you wasted a lot of time till 84th question. In the last 10 minutes you are supposed to do all the polity questions. Even within them you got some questions wrong. So you have knowledge. Knowledge is treasure. You have all the treasure in the world, but wisdom is the key to open that knowledge, right? Like you could have attempted all those questions, but you couldn't because your time management was not good. So you were not wise within the exam hall. This is the simplest application of wisdom. Okay. After first attempt, after this debacle, okay, you automatically got wise. Next time you will skim the entire paper, seeing where are polity questions, where are geography questions. You apply according to your own strength. Okay. Sometimes knowledge is not related to knowledge. See, again, that is, you're confusing two things like Suraj. For example, knowledge has, see, that is what I said, right? Like knowledge does not translate into wisdom. Okay. Yes, definitely. Knowledge when applied is wise. See, for example, if you say patriarchy is not wise, okay, for a person who is implementing patriarchy, it is very wise thing if you think about it. Okay, again, this is a negative example, but think about it. For him, it works very wonderfully for him, positively. Okay, when he subjugates women or when he controls the entire family, it is working in whose favor? Patriarchy works in men's favor. So men are wise in that context, and they are using it for their welfare. Okay, so a wrong person when applies the knowledge for wrong things, he still is wise. Okay, for example, you're not directly killing someone, you are encouraging someone to kill, you are being wise that you are legally safe. Okay, did you use that knowledge for right purposes? So the outcome may be bad. Okay, but were you wise to use somebody else to kill that person? Yes. So all wisdom has roots in knowledge, right? Like, see, you need to have an idea, a thought that has to be converted into knowledge. Knowledge will lead to wisdom. You cannot separate wisdom and knowledge in two different spheres. One leads to other, or if there is wisdom, there is obviously knowledge. You know something and you know how to apply it. For example, your own case, intercaste marriages can be encouraged from a poor family. Okay, totally fine. How are they fine? Why is they have a knowledge of bond, value, love. Okay, they want that person to succeed. They are using that for welfare maximization. So welfare maximization is wisdom. Okay, so wisdom is what? Using something for my own welfare where I am safe, I am positive, and the net outcome is positive for me. That is when they call you wise, right? Okay, Buddha is wise. Why? He solved a age-old problem, saying that human suffering will always be there. Okay, so what did Buddha do? Buddha solved a problem, saying, Occam's razors. He says suffering is inevitable. Okay, you cannot escape suffering. What you have to do is you have to find your ways around the suffering. So for that, we still call Buddha the wise, enlightened Buddha. The name Gautama became Buddha, right? How did that transition happen? Because he understood a problem. He used his existing knowledge, right? And converted that. Krishna revealed truth or karma about birth. Okay, attitude defines your altitude, but not your aptitude. This is similar. Is this similar to given an essay? So no, not technically again application of your attitude, right? Temperance and all those things that we'll come into the discussion. Let me just confuse you more so that you people will be confused. You will think more. So the purpose is not to spoon feed you. The purpose is to make you think. The more you think, the better. Because in the exam hall, I won't be available, right? It's you alone. So that is wisdom. Yes. So knowledge and wisdom. So here, can we say, let's take a religious preacher. Okay, a religious preacher is using his knowledge and calling himself as wise. Okay, again, listen to the question very carefully. A religious preacher have a lot of religious knowledge. Okay, he using his knowledge, he appears very wise. So all his pupils will think that the religious preacher is wise. Now, the religious preacher have a choice to use that knowledge for good or bad, right? Now, how is the religious preacher wise? He knows something that you don't know. So he has a lot of knowledge on religious command. He has a very good command on the religion. Then he can use it for good, that is overall welfare of the society, or he can use it for bad things. For example, the Taliban bombings in Pakistan. Okay, so some teenager blew up himself in a Shia based mosque, and that led to the death of 100 plus people. Okay, now the question is very simple, right? Is the preacher wise? Okay, technically speaking, the net outcome for him is positive, right? That means he did not die. He allowed some innocent citizen to die. He is promoting hate, or he is achieving whatever he wants to achieve. Okay, so in that sense, the limitation of his wisdom is there. He has used it for negative purposes. Okay, now the problem comes is wisdom is key. So you have to write the positive examples. Knowledge is treasure, but wisdom is the key. All the knowledge in the world won't help you unless you apply. If it is limited, can we call it as wisdom? That is the, so in that particular zone, in that particular area, he appears very wise, but in the long run, that is not actually wisdom. So there is that is not wisdom, right? Like there is true wisdom. What I wanted to convey there is bounded rationality or limited rationality. So not everything that appears as wisdom is actually wisdom. That is the message there. Okay. Wisdom as a selfish character in an industry in corporate entity aspect. Okay. So having said, see, my favorite concept from Sanatan Dharma is this niyati niyati. That means whatever is not there, whatever is not true, whatever is not true, whatever remaining is wisdom. Okay. So all truth is not wisdom. All knowledge is not wisdom. All things which appear like wise is not wisdom. Okay, all religions are not wisdom. Okay, so there is something much more broader, much more beyond whatever we think is wisdom. So reading all the books in the world will not make you wise. Clearing UPSC exam will not make you wise. So there is something beyond all these things which we call as wisdom. So wisdom is that insight in that given particular situation which gives a lot of good things. Okay, so that is where we direct the essay, right? Like, because knowledge is a treasure, but wisdom is the key. Okay, for example, you have other. Okay, again, just limiting to UPSC, not going into philosophy. How do I convert this essay? From philosophy, wisdom is much more beyond the knowledge, wise, truth, religion, or to an extent, all the good things. So wisdom is not these things. Wisdom is application of knowledge. So government have a lot of knowledge. It knows how many people are there, how many people deserve certain things, etc., etc. Now, are you using it for what? Welfare. So for government, our government, the dharma is yogakshema. Right? For government, the dharma is yogakshema. So this yogakshema is wisdom for the government. Okay, but this applies only to the government which are democratically elected, which wants to think about the welfare of the people and which will do the right things in the right means. So means, ends, intention, okay, all these things will also apply here. So yogakshema, that means welfare of the people. So as long as the government is doing the right things for the right reasons, in the right tones for the right people, okay, government is wise. In this entire chain, if you are doing something stupid, like, if your biometric is not working, I won't give you food, then government is not wise. Why? The purpose is to give food to the right people. Okay, just because somebody's biometric is not working, if you don't give him or her the food, then the government is not wise. Okay, so here we are converting the entire argument into a very simple lines, like knowledge the government have, wisdom is welfare of the people, that is yogakshema. As long as you do yogakshema, we can consider the government as wise. Okay, we simply converted the entire broad-based discussion into what is wisdom and all those drama, philosophy, etc., into some things which human beings can understand, or mere mortals like me can understand, right? Okay, government yogakshema is the wisdom. Okay, for a student, Okay, for a student, what is dharma or what is wisdom? Right now, I think you can understand the hint from here onwards, right? Okay, knowledge is treasure. A student have a lot of knowledge. He have read all the books. Okay, then what is wisdom? Wisdom is converting that into good rank or good service or good outcome, and even after getting job, applying the same things. Okay, you'll write a fantastic ethics answer saying dowry is bad, patriarchy is wrong, and all those things. The first thing you will do is call the marriage office and saying, I got selected into IAS, I need 100 crore minimum dowry, find such matches. Okay, then you're not being wise. Okay, so your wisdom is not applied there, right? So student have his own wisdom, his own dharma. So doing the right things at the right time, watching a movie or reading Lakshmikant, which is more wise? Simple terms, watching movie, right? But somehow we choose to read Lakshmikant. Yes, no, did you understand? Does that mean wisdom differs from person to person, institution to institution, or wisdom universal? Yes, again, now Pooja will hate me for saying this. Uh, Simply put, after a point of time, I will call wisdom as ethics. Okay, so wisdom will change from person to person, situation to situation, and all those things. Universally, we need to create a universal wisdom. So that is an ideal, that is universal ethics. So individuals can have morals, individuals can have values. So morals and values are also mistaken for ethics. Okay, wisdom is just the same. So what is right thing for me in that given situation, in the right situation, appears like the right thing for me. I might look like a wise person. Okay, but ultimately we have to come to a conclusion where everybody is happy with the decision that is taken. Okay, so that is wisdom. So we have individual wisdoms, we have societal wisdoms, we have moral or universal wisdoms. Okay. Yes, that is exactly a point, right, Shubham? Watching movie in that situation is the right thing for that person to do because he was reading from 4 a.m. So his wisdom is to relax. Okay, it's okay to take a break. I have been reading for 10 hours from last 15 days. It's okay to take a break. But that is something that comes from internally, right? So there is wisdom which comes from inside, the voice. Okay, but somebody who is planning to read Lakshmikant from the last 10 days, he should be reading Lakshmikant. That is wisdom. So here it changes from individual, society, institution, and what entire humanity, or even for nations. Okay, if you ask social justice or if you ask health ministry, they will say I need more money. Okay, that is wisdom of what? Health ministry. They will say you malnourishment is there, we need this many people to be vaccinated, so on and so forth. Wisdom is for health ministry. Okay, but when it comes to, let's say, Ministry of Finance, they will say why should we give you so much money? So one department's wisdom is to save money, another department's wisdom is to spend money so that 10 years down the line you don't have people with malaria and all those things. So wisdom will change from department to department itself. Okay. Yes, again, if you go back to the individual definition, individual knowledge is a treasure, but wisdom is the key. Now the problem is very simple. If everybody is wise, okay, then the world will be a better place, but that is not the case. We all fall to the temptations. See, you are knowledgeable, I am knowledgeable. Let's say you are an IAS officer, there are two IAS officers. Do all IAS officers in India perform in the same level? Okay, there is this one IAS officer from Rajasthan, I think, Rajendra something. Okay, he is also an IAS. He's a doctor. When COVID pandemic was happening from wave 1 to wave 2, he established oxygen plants in his district. Okay, probably the only district in India where the beds were vacant in COVID wave 2 because they had enough oxygen plants. They were prepared for it. Okay, so there are so many IAS officers. Why is he wise? He saw something which before it happened, much before it happened. Okay, he applied his medical knowledge also to make sure that his district is safe, right? In that sense, if you think about it, Okay, there are so many other IAS officers who are also doctors by profession or doctors by education. Why didn't they do the same thing? So there is something much more than just knowledge. Those are the examples that will fit very nicely here. Knowledge is treasure, but wisdom is the key. So now one more crucial discussion we have to bring into this argument is knowledge is treasure, established, very happy. You also have to find the right treasure, right? You are very good at making bombs. That is not treasure. Okay. You are very good at diffusing bombs. Probably that can be considered as treasure. Right. So right knowledge, as Buddha says, right treasure, then using it for right things. So all the right ticks should be there. That should be means and ends argument again. That means only when I do good things for the good reasons, for the good people at the good time is wisdom. That is how I will take my entire essay. Knowledge is a treasure. So what is treasure according to you? Again, it changes from society to society. Okay. The common complaint in India is we forgot our own ancient values, culture, tradition. Hum both pehle se, like we were very traditional culture. We lost our knowledge. Okay, so people think that modern Indians are westernized, colonialized. Our minds are occupied by colonial thoughts because we cherish different things than our ancients. Okay, so maybe treasure will change from generation to generation. Okay, so you get the idea, right? You can expand it into so many levels in individual example itself. Like for example, some people wants to work for welfare of the people, not for money. So for someone, making a difference is a treasure. That is wisdom according to him. But without wisdom, that will lead to a lot of problems. No. Yes. So let's take some questions. I know wisdom, knowledge are my favorite topics. There is one topic in entire UPSC, 192 topics are there in previous year questions. One topic is wisdom finds truth. Okay, that is the single most difficult topic even till date that I find. If you ask me to write 191 essays, probably I will write. But that one topic, wisdom finds truth. I still am not sure like how to go about it. But that was a UPSC topic. Wisdom impacted by previous experiences, upbringing. To apply knowledge, we need professionals. Okay, the role of guru in applying knowledge. Right. So again, that part of essay is where does wisdom come from? Just like ethics, if you think about it, wisdom is nothing but socialization, right? The entire process of socialization. You can be wise by your family. For example, not to stereotype, if you are from a Marwari community or if you are from a family of business, okay, in general, you are wise in comparison to others. You know how to talk to people, especially in money related things, how to bargain and all those things, or when to spend, when not to spend. Stereotypes apart, generally speaking, that wisdom is transferred from generation to generation. So socialization have wisdom. Okay, or a family which values books, wisdom is being transferred not only in literal sense but in metaphorical sense also. So so again, socialization will decide what knowledge you are appreciating, what wisdom do you have, right? So a child born in Dharavi or some other slum in India will have a different knowledge, a knowledge of survival. Okay, but wisdom is him applying that to get his social mobility, change his social status, find a better job, so that he will be in a much better position. So wisdom is again intergenerational, intragenerational. No, two siblings also will have different paths, right? Okay, so wisdom will change from society to society, village to village, family to family. So many opportunities for you to explore here, even between nations. For example, India uses vaccines for vaccine Maitri, that is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that is ancient wisdom of India, whereas Canada and other countries use it for vaccine hoarding, vaccine nationalism, right? So that is their wisdom. So we have our own wisdom. We had knowledge to create vaccines, but we used wisdom to spread it, share it, whereas those countries used it to hoard it. Two different things. What separated India from the rest of the countries? Wisdom. Okay, right? The same with no first use policy, the routine suspects. Non-cooperation movement? No, not non-cooperation movement. Non-aligned movement. That is also wisdom, right? Not to join any side, to play positively. What can be the dimensions for this essay? You tell me. So first, definitely you have to address knowledge is treasure part. That is part A. Wisdom is the key. B. So A plus B should always be there. Knowledge is treasure. So it's fine to have knowledge, but you need to have right knowledge. Okay. Then how do you bring wisdom? Next, interplay between wisdom and knowledge. Will knowledge automatically lead to wisdom? Right key to the treasure box. Yes. Okay. See, as somebody was pointing out, knowledge automatically does not translate into wisdom. The same is equally true. You are wise, that does not mean automatically you will have more knowledge. Okay. You are wise in certain areas. Right. So let's say you have started a business, you lost it, you are very good in particular area. So you are wise in one area does not mean you are wise in every area. Wisdom leads to knowledge. Wisdom leads to knowledge. Wisdom may or may not lead to knowledge. Okay. See, not applying wisdom is also a problem, right? Ambedkar's knowledge, Ambedkar's wisdom is technically, see, again, if you take Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as a wonderful example, his wisdom is to understand India from bottom-up approach. He saw India for what it is rather than what people want it to be. So that is his wisdom. But at the same time, he used his knowledge to change things in a different place, right? Yes. Even wisdom cannot be taken at face value. There will be many false prophets, definitely. So wisdom, critical thinking is very essential to question every wisdom. Can we expand knowledge and wisdom? Definitely. Again, I suggest you to expand them in layers, like individual level, society level. It becomes more important rather than giving synonyms to knowledge, applying examples. Developing wisdom exam enables us to make better decisions, and development of wisdom happens through experience and reflection. Very good contribution, Vishal. So basically, you can also say wisdom comes from pain, failure. We become wise by learning from others' mistakes also. Right? For example, Indian government is wise in suggesting compulsory seat belts. Okay, but that wisdom came a little bit too late, only after the unfortunate death of Cyrus Mistry. Right? So wisdom can come from learning others' mistakes. Right? So how do you develop wisdom? So again, please don't think this is complete essay. I'm only discussing it in bits and pieces. I'm making you think. Discovery of the fire by ancient humans. Okay. See, again, we don't know. It can be accident, right? But the thing is, we used it wisely for the welfare. Wisdom does not mean having knowledge, but taking the insights. Okay. I'm not sure, Anil. I think it can be articulated in a better fashion, right? Yes. Now, very simple question. Honestly, tell me how many of you are wise? Do you consider yourself as wise? From Panchatantra stories to Aesop fables, we know the wise crow, the wise what? Rabbit. There are so many wise examples that have been given in our stories, right? So Socrates paradox, I know nothing, so I am wise. So Socrates says I'm the most smartest person because I know that I know nothing. Okay, so according to you, Socrates is wise. Wisdom is discovered by exposure to socialization or exposure from socialization, right? So again, wisdom can be internal, external, just like socialization. Some people have that wisdom to learn from others' mistakes. Some people learn from their own mistakes. Some people do the same mistakes again and again, only over a period of time will learn. But the thing is, are you learning from your own mistakes or others' mistakes? Do you have that I mindset? So that is knowledge. So both knowledge and wisdom complement each other. If you have the right knowledge and if you treasure the right value systems, okay, right, automatically that should probably nudge you, only nudge, I won't say no, guarantee, nudge you towards wisdom. Okay. And unlike any other thing, wisdom is not a destination, right? Like wisdom is a journey. You can never be totally wise. Wisdom is like so many things for so many people. From one attempt to second attempt, you learn a lot of things. Wise person is not egoistic. He listens. See again, instead of saying knowledgeable person is not wise, you can context it to the essay, right? You can say that knowledge clouded by ego is blinding him to the right treasure. Like he considered that itself is a destination. Yes, Suraj, sorry, that is a very good contribution. Wise people learn; they are willing to bend themselves. Uh, Ego is a wrong treasure. India's wise stand in vis-a-vis Russia-Ukraine crisis. So I'm not sure, Sandeep. Maybe we are knowledgeable. Not translating to certain situations is not wisdom. That is again knowledge, right? Lack of wisdom. Mm-hmm. Lawn mowing parenting. Yes. Knowing ourselves and emotions will create a wise person. Yes. See, again, I will add one more thing. EQ, IQ, and okay. So bear with me. This is something that most of you might be knowing. So emotional quotient, as all of you know, IQ, intelligent quotient. See, this is pure knowledge. Knowledge when combined with EQ, okay, that is emotional quotient. So I have knowledge. I also know my own limitations. So I'm knowing myself. So as many people suggest, know thyself. Even if you watch the movie Matrix, there is a wonderful quotation, right? It's know thyself. Okay. So the more you know, the more wise you become. So EQ plus IQ are supposed to take you to SQ. SQ is, spiritual quotient. Okay, yes, I know. Spiritual quotient here does not mean God and all those things. Spiritual quotient is where you are more aware about yourself. Okay, it's like the Maslow theory of hierarchy, the highest level where you are about enlightened or nirvana, or what we call as moksha. Again, so nirvana is the highest enlightened state. So nirvana state is wisdom state. So EQ plus IQ are supposed to take you to SQ. So people with high SQ, that is spiritual quotient, will have more awareness about themselves, about you, and they will be more wise. So our journey is to move towards the Maslow hierarchy of theory, that is social security needs and ultimately spiritual needs or enlightenment. Right. So wisdom is a journey. Yes. Mistakes from experience make us more vigilant. Again, okay. Application of knowledge at the right time makes us wise. Yes. See, I have been repeating, right? Doing the right things in the right time at the right way is wisdom. So wisdom cannot be thought. Wisdom cannot be transferred. Only knowledge can be transferred. So I hope you got a good confusion of what is knowledge and what is wisdom. So I hope you are wise by at least 1% after attending this knowledge and wisdom class. Knowledge cannot be unlocked without wisdom. Again, uh, mhm. Knowledge cannot be unlocked without wisdom. See, sometimes knowledge can unlock things without actually knowing what they are doing, right? Like, let's say you accidentally discovered something without actually trying for it. Okay, then you are wise. If wisdom cannot be transferred, then so very good question, Pooja. If wisdom cannot be transferred, why did Buddha give sermons? Okay, so he said he gave sermons so that others can follow the path and they will find their own wisdom. So Buddha was wise in knowing that wisdom varies from person to person. A wise person's belief that he, she is wise may perfectly justified. Having that belief one is wise does not rule out the possibility that one is wise, definitely. Mm, very nice argument, Suraj. So basically, if I declare myself as wise, apart from Buddha, I don't think many people have claimed that, right? And the beautiful part is people didn't believe it. Say for example, some Baba will come and say, I am wise, I have been enlightened. Okay, there are those who want to believe that he's enlightened. There are many who doesn't believe him. So except in the entire human history, probably apart from Buddha, when somebody came and said, I am enlightened, people didn't take it on face value. So for some reason Buddha was like only exemption, right? So wise people may not claim that they are wise. Okay, or they don't even know that they are wise. They are simply humble, learning to learn more. Okay, so you become wise in the process and you don't even realize it. So wisdom can also be a byproduct. For example, all Buddhist monks, for example, Dalai Lama, in one interview, he says that when he was a young monk, when he was a young kid, in his monastery, all the kids are supposed to wake up at 4 a.m. They have to read a lot of things. They have to recite the entire 10,000 page volume or something without missing a syllable. If you miss one line, okay, you are gone. You have to repeat it again. So they have to go through a lot of rigorous process. So maybe we're reading it, mugging up, slowly we'll start understanding the meaning. So they are not actually aiming for you to become wise. They want you to learn these things. So in the journey, you understood the meaning and you became wise. So knowledge is like that rope way. It's like the train tracks. It will set you in the right path. When you have the right knowledge, someday it might lead to wisdom. But when you reach the destination, you might again find some new tracks. So we never know, or we can never quantify what is wisdom, but this is knowledge. Knowledge will keep you in the right track. Okay, when you reach the destination, you might find something new to find. Okay, so Buddha says, I have found the end, while the rest of us, we are still walking in this path. We are still here. We are somewhere in this entire spectrum, this bandwidth. Okay, only Buddha claims I'm truly enlightened. At least that is my interpretation of Buddha. Okay, Gandhi is wise. Chauri Chaura example, Gandhi is wise. Even knowledge is enough. So you have done some mistakes, some boo-boo, okay, right? You have knowledge, you failed, you knowledge is sometimes enough. Wisdom is someone seeing why you are falling again and again and telling you. Okay. Can you say knowledgeable from someone's knowledge, but not wise from someone's wisdom? Yes, you cannot say somebody is wise by his wisdom, right? Because wisdom is not visible, but it is only through actions wisdom can be judged. Okay. Dhoni is a wise captain. Okay. So how do you prove it to me? Only through his actions, right? Again, actions appear like knowledge. So this is wisdom. Bits and pieces of knowledge will make you wise. More right knowledge, more wisdom. Can we come to a humble agreement there? Yes. See, this is a problem of discussing knowledge and wisdom with people who have a lot of wisdom. All UPSC aspirants are wise. No? So as a mentor, as a teacher, it's very difficult for me to convince you people that you are having a lot of wisdom. Can we become wise without knowledge? All wisdom needs knowledge, in my humble understanding, because even grandmothers who never went to school will know how to give right suggestions. So it, it may not be formal education, but it is life which teaches you. Don't worry, I will create PDFs for these things with codes and all those things. The work is in process thanks to ChatGPT. But the thing is, uh, you still need to understand the process, right? Yes. Now you people tell me, uh, wisdom is aptitude and knowledge is aptitude. Okay. Maybe I will argue vice versa. Think about it. Wisdom is an aptitude. You have naturally inclination towards doing the right things. You are wise, intuition, whereas knowledge is attitude. I know something, I hate something. I do something because I have some prejudices. So your knowledge is making you do some things, whereas wisdom is your own inclination. So there are some of you who are not participating. My humble suggestion is participate more. So that you will learn. Now the second topic. Yes. So I'm going to be only listening silently. I want you people to speak. No? Oh, that is the reason you people are not saying anything. You're silently listening because wise. Knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens. Okay. Do you agree with this statement? Okay. Knowledge speaks. So even my knowledge comes from wisdom, right? Look, say for example, knowledge speaks. So here it is mostly in a negative tone. If you observe it, okay, the topic is given in a negative sense. That means uh, knowledge speaks. Knowledge talks a lot of things. Knowledge will, you know, uh, knowledge just comes out in a ad hoc fashion, reactive. Whereas wisdom is more proactive. It is more observing. It is more silent. It notices. So that is a prima facie interpretation of the topic. A person with knowledge will be able to talk about many things, but a wise person will listen and then decide to speak on what to speak, what not to speak. Okay. In this second essay, I think the interplay between knowledge and wisdom has to be discussed more. Say, let's say you opened your mouth, somebody smiled at you, laughed at you, you made a mistake. Next time you will rectify it. Without opening your mouth, without knowledge, you cannot lead to wisdom, right? Like, okay, all wise people are wise because they have experiences. It's not all the time like, you will have that wisdom from day one. So wisdom is niskama karma, whereas knowledge is service. Okay. There are numerous ways to interpret wisdom. Wisdom is defined as extensive knowledge. Okay. Literature, music, definitely. A good life is a wise life. Wisdom makes us to utilize our knowledge. Wisdom makes us to utilize our knowledge in the right way. Knowledge is like coin making too much noise, which when handled improperly. Okay. Wisdom is like silent compounding. Okay. Now tell me an example, individual example. You people love being philosophers, right? Like saying preferably both. If you can manage that puja, that will be fantastic. No. Please focus on the class. My question is very simple. Don't give me theories. Give me an example where knowledge is speaking, wisdom is listening. No more theory. We are done with theory. That is not wisdom. That is compromise, Rajni. Okay. We don't have an option but to compromise. That is wisdom. Then that is fine. But again, that is a hypothetical example, right? Opting for courses, intermediate education, Krishna and Arjuna. Oh, fantastic, Sandeep. Hmm. Krishna, Arjuna is giving statements like, all these are my relatives, etc., etc., while Krishna was listening. Then technically, Krishna also replied. But that's a good example. Tell me some real life example where knowledge speak, but wisdom listens. Suddenly, everybody went silent. Misinformation and fake news forwarded through social media. Excellent example, Vasavi. I totally appreciate it. People, WhatsApp uncles, WhatsApp university speaks a lot. They forward a lot, misinformation, small disinformation, fake news, etc. Whereas wise people do not forward it or they discard it. That will be a good introduction as well. Very good. Any other mythological examples or any other contemporary examples? Can you think of any performing politician? AQ Khan, knowledge speaks, Deter India, okay. Dr. Abdul Kalam. So Dr. Abdul Kalam used his knowledge for promoting India, whereas AQ Khan of Pakistan has used to speak. Okay, very nice. You can take the developing. Again, these are national examples, but fine. And individual examples. We'll stop at individual first. Srinu, the question is very simple. Wisdom of empowerment with knowledge, creating or establishing SHGs. Okay, so in that sense, I will totally agree with Srinivas. I think what he meant to say is we all complain that there are so many problems in India is not developing, etc., whereas wisdom is to establish self-help groups, MSMEs or NGOs to work on something. So wisdom is like doing the things instead of talking. So he's expanding wisdom into action, whereas knowledge into words. So words and action, that will also be very good example. For example, Bunker Rai. I don't know how many of you have heard about Bunker Rai. Right? Or Vaishno is Chipko movement. All these things is wisdom, right? Very good. Okay, so can we move to society? For example, again here you can talk about communally charged societies. For example, like they spread a lot, whereas societies which have gone through communalism are more wise. They don't allow the communal hatred to be spread, because once they were the victims of that thing, now that they are wise, okay, they don't want it to escalate. No. Emergency as well. Mm-hmm. Good. Think about it, at least track your brain. Society's wisdom stopped from escalating Udaipur murder into a mass communal conflict. Okay. Can we take the unfortunate example of 26/11? So many people wanted blood. They wanted to go to war with Pakistan. Maybe somehow we stopped ourselves. So while Pakistan was ranting, India went for surgical strike. I think you can mold such examples. Knowledge, speak, wisdom, listens. We have taken wise decisions when to attack, when not to attack, or how to attack. Or even today, Pakistan is saying a lot of things, but India is very wise in saying, we will give you a ear, or we will listen to peace, we will talk peace only when you give up arms. So India is patiently waiting for Pakistan to give up terrorism. I think it's not a perfect example, but you can mold that to a particular example, right? Yeah. Examples, please. Our neighbors are struggling to keep a democratic government, whereas India is stable because of a constitutional, successful democracy. Yes, very good example, Vishal. Knowledge supports police encounters, but wisdom understands situation. Pretty decent. You can convert that into mob violence and rule of law. A society which respects rule of law and wisdom will be more happier society. A society which is victim to hate, anger, and all these things will be charged. Collegium issue. Both Parliament or Supreme Court are speaking but not listening to each other. Very good example, Pooja. Now the controversy is in calling whom as wise. Nobody is listening, right? UPSC aspirants are wise. They are listening to both the stories. Yes, marital rape can be one example, right, Pavan? People are wise during elections. They will listen to all the communal hatred, violence, promotion, etc. They listen to everyone, but they still will vote to only those who want to vote. Yes. Here somebody has to become wise in collegium example. Supreme Court should become more wise. Both of them has to develop wisdom to listen. Echo chambers, fake news, this can be brought in. Yes, marital rape is at least Indian society are men developing wisdom to listen to the other side of the story. We may not decriminalize marital rape overnight, but because of the discussion, at least the society is becoming more wise, more mature. That will be a very good example. Yes, nice. Vishal, your example is wonderful. Keep doing the same thing. Yes, I think the chart is open, right? Like everybody can see the chart. No? Uh, yeah, very nice. Uh, Obama bipartisan message. Okay, there are no blue states, there are no red states, there are only United States of America. That will be a good example. Again, context wise, many Indians may not know that, right? Like UPS aspirants might know it. Institutions, my favorite candidate is Election Commissioner of India. So many people blame Election Commissioner of India, Election ECI, EVMs are hacked, this, that, etc., etc. But wisdom is ECI bringing in slow reforms to make the election process better year after year. So they have so far conducted 17 general elections without any fail. So ECI is a better candidate in that sense, if you think about it. Recent examples of Kerala village getting constitutional awareness. Yes, very good example, Rahul. There was an article in Hindu which says one village in Kerala is the first 100% constitutionally aware village in the country. So if everybody, instead of just talking, starts promoting, constitutional values, that society will automatically become wise example. Fantastic example. So do save that article if you haven't seen that in Hindu. I think I also posted it in Parivartan as well. See, that is application of knowledge. That is wisdom. while we say India will never change, people won't change, etc., blah blah blah, someone is actually doing something which will make a long lasting difference. Very good. You can also bring in that example, wisdom of emancipation from partiality or equality in Sabarimala. Okay, so again, wisdom here is more about Supreme Court, right? You have to bring more contemporary example. Like for example, every political party will talk about upliftment of the socially vulnerable marginal sections, whereas wisdom is in bringing yesterday's budget PVTG scheme, right? So the government of India is trying to bring a dedicated scheme for PVTG. So if everybody says there is Gandhiji's talisman, speaking is easy, but actually thinking about PVTG, bringing a scheme in the budget itself for the PVTG is wisdom. So your actions are converted into actions. So that can be a good example of contemporary nature, freedom, if you think about it. Yes, that's good. Srinivas, I don't know. Why not tribal documents? Yes, I think that is what is also wisdom. Silence of Prime Minister letting actions talk. Okay, you can write it. There is no harm, right? He's actually doing some work, if not all the work. Yes. Upholding right to privacy through Puttaswamy. Yes, everybody talks about fundamental rights, but time and again, judiciary is upholding the wisdom of constitution. So as Chandrachud says, basic structure is the North Star. That document can be brought in. Yes, we can say yoga and all these things are fantastic, etc., etc. But making yoga into an international day is wisdom. Superficial, but yes, worth it. And last time, we are running out of time. Nations. Climate change is a better contender. Everybody talks, very few people do the action. Wisdom listens. So India, instead of just talking, India have started something like International Solar Alliance, Prime Minister's Life, etc. So anything in wisdom is wisdom listens. Okay. See, again, we are only going in one direction. Please don't think this is the macro dimension of the essay. You will always have your own freedom to choose whatever you want to choose. Don't get confused. Like all essays should be written only in the way I am saying. You have the freedom. You can take a whole different interpretation of this topic. Knowledge speaks, but wisdom listens. Okay, but what happens is when you just stick to the literal meaning, like knowledge is speaking, but wisdom is listening, you will not have examples. But the moment you expand knowledge or ability or anything into something, okay, wisdom into action in a better way, like it can be positive or negative. Whereas if you take wisdom only as a positive things, it will expand the scope of the essay. Buddha speaks and followers listen. Buddha also says you have to do certain actions, right? So Buddha is using his wisdom for his knowledge seekers again to convert it into wisdom. He does not say just be listeners. Empowerment. Previous governments work on welfare of people. Okay. That will be a very negative criticism, right, Venkateshwari? Talking about zero tolerance towards terrorism by India at international forum is knowledge speaking, but India is also wise because India does not promote terrorism, right? Contradictory argument, silence of good leading to evil spread. Definitely you can write that. When knowledge speak, wisdom listens. Okay. Now, quickly before concluding, I want you to give me the scope for the second essay. I hope all of you still remember what is the scope. Long ago, few weeks ago, we started discussing what is scope. Scope means expanding the essay. To what extent wisdom can be silent? When to take action? Very good dimension, Bhaskar. Why should wisdom not do? Why should only wisdom listen? Again, listening here can be expanded, right? But to what extent? Limit of tolerance. Very good. Why knowledge only speaks? Why does wisdom listen? How to make knowledge listen? Okay. Or how to make wisdom take some action? Okay. Or what is the link between knowledge and wisdom? See, somebody has to be speak to somebody to listen, right? Like if we only listen all the time, it doesn't work. If we speak all the time, it doesn't work. So somewhere we have to find that golden balance where we stop thinking, where we stop talking and listen. Not only listen, you have to introspect. So you have to think. So speak should become to listen should become to introspect, and that leads to better speech. So that's a virtuous cycle between speaking and listening. So knowledge and wisdom are like two sides of the coin. If you want a particular analogy from Upanishads, okay, imagine wisdom is actually, yes, again, uh, uh, why listening is important. Again, see, you have to somewhere introspect, right? Think, thought, carefully analyze things, right? See, here we are talking in metaphorical sense, but for example, I told you this class only, okay, let's say knowledge, I transferred you knowledge, you can think in all these dimensions. But what is wisdom? Wisdom is you in not only listening through ears, right? Listening is processing it. Okay, that process needs time. But again, if you keep speaking and speaking, you don't actually have the time to think. So to even speak, you need to think. To speak better, you need to think. For all those things, listening is also important. So if something is not like input, okay, listening is the input, okay, you'll process it in your brain, then again you will speak. To speak better, again you need to listen. Listening here can be learning, reading, etc. So good inputs leads to good output leads to good input. So when you speak the right word, you inspire others. For example, if you are Martin Luther King, okay, if you're Dr. Martin Luther King, you heard a lot of things, you found the pain of others, you found your use of Malala, right? You listened to a lot of people, then you spoke. Okay, so your inputs need to be in the right place, your process need to be in the right ethics value. Okay, then your speech will be in the right dimension. So it's like a virtuous loop where listening, speaking complement each other. Right speak, right listen. See, same Buddha's concept, right? When you do all the right things, the outcome will also be right. When you do the wrong things, wrong inputs, if you keep only reading WhatsApp forwards, okay, automatically your speak will also become hate. So as again last class I told you, right, it's the better angels of our nature. A person's command of literature will make him knowledgeable, but his digestion of that knowledge will make him wise. Application of knowledge will make him wise. See, when Gandhi says, when someone slaps you, show the other cheek. Okay, like, turn your face. Only when Gandhi applies that we can call him wise, right? Or else Gandhi is one more speaker. Everybody knows, you should not escalate war. But when somebody is actually slapping you, are you really applying whatever you are saying? That is where wisdom comes into the picture. India can preach Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Okay. But if India is not sharing vaccines, then there is no Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It's only words. That is knowledge. Right? What stops us from becoming wise is again not listening, not introspecting. Antarmatan, antarchintan. See, introspection is the bedrock of anything. What happens when only one speaks and not listens? Very good. Yes, Supreme Court's how to improve listening. Again, as Supreme Court have said, Supreme Court was wise in listening to the pain of the under trials. Yes, when you listen calmly, you'll understand the problems. You will find the problems and you will solve the problems. When you only speak without thinking, that might lead to unforeseen outcomes. Okay. Yeah. Right. So the aim is to balance between speak and listen. But between these things, you should also process whatever you're speaking. You should introspect whatever listening. You should critically analyze. So here, critical thinking is important. Okay. Here, introspection is important. Like when you do these things, I think everything will be in the balance. You will both speak and listen, and you will grow. Again, please don't restrict speaking only to speaking, right? When you take a pen and paper, when you write an essay, that is also speaking. When you only write without getting evaluation, when you only think in the essay classes, like for example, all of you are very happily participate in the brainstorming. But when you put it on pen and paper, I think you'll find a lot of gap in your thinking and writing, right? So that is also promoting your wisdom. Are we clear? Yes. So any questions? Don't worry, it will take time for you to develop knowledge, wisdom, but you are in the process, right? Recent Adani Hindenburg report, okay. Adani 400-page reply to lack of substance leading to negative response. Can we consider this as only speaking? Yes, definitely, Vishal. You can use that example, like, when you speak without thinking also, or when your speak lacks depth, when you're speaking without introspection, that will lead to a lot of problems. Most knowledgeable people are not wise. Definitely agreed. See, what Surya is saying is some of the most knowledge people are not wise. Okay, so they have knowledge but not wise. Wise people know how to navigate the world in all kinds of situation, and with all kinds of people, knowledge alone will not provide us with what a wise person knows. Here again, there are three classes of people. If you take it, people who are wise, people who are knowledgeable, people who are knowledgeable and wise. Okay, in one aspect, Bruce Lee argues that if you are good in one thing, if you are good in one thing in life, okay, you should be good in everything in your life. There cannot be one area. But in reality, let's say I'm wise in money. Okay, I may not be wise in, let's say, parenting. I may not be wise in teaching. So everybody will have their own areas or spheres where there are wise, right? So please don't generalize wisdom like if you are wise you have to be wise in everything. Buddha is wise in probably giving in life suggestions. Okay, if we bring the same Buddha and ask something else, maybe he doesn't know. So when we say wise, we are applying certain terms and conditions, like you have to be wise here in Buddha's sense is more about moksha, like all this is maya, I don't want to be worried about it. But if you talk about Warren Buffett, maybe he's wise in financial investing, or Rakesh Junjunwala. If you talk about Modi, probably he's very good in understanding the people's pulse, how to speak, how to get votes. So everybody is wise in that sense. So knowledge plus wisdom is one way. There are only who are wise. For example, some people tell very nice stories, examples, suggestions. They are wise in that sense. And there are some people who doesn't bother about wisdom. They're only about knowledge, make money, forget about everything. So in a sense, when you bring in morals, values, ethics, happiness, good life, and all these things, wisdom will be elevated. So knowledge with good toppings like masala, wisdom with compassion, wisdom with knowledge with compassion, knowledge with good life, knowledge for welfare of the society, yogakshama, etc. is wisdom. Okay, pure knowledge may or may not translate into good things. Okay, the famous story goes, right, Alfred Nobel invented the dynamite, then he started what, the Nobel Prize, so on and so forth. I'm not sure about that story, but the summary is the same. He did something for knowledge, but then he added remorse to it or compassion to it, he became wise. So knowledge when added with some value system is wise. So everybody who is wise have some set of knowledge system. Okay, may not be in the same field. Cross wisdom will also work, right? Confucius said all those thousands of years ago, like a man who chases two rabbits will catch neither. Okay, in 2023 also it is very much applicable. So Confucius wisdom is beyond ages. The beautiful part is it applies in so many situations. Yeah, for a UPSC aspirant it applies, for a doctor it applies, for some businessman it applies. So to each to their own, but interpretation is different. I think that gives some perspective, right, Surya? Hmm. So there cannot be a one person who knows everything except chat GPA. Okay. Yeah. Chat GPT, sorry. Yes. So I think today's session is a little bit lengthy than usual, right? So as I said, probably this is the last essay session that we will have in this time of the year. So we will continue the same after prelims, hopefully with the test series and all those things. So till then, I might bring something for prelims. I'm thinking about it, not sure. If you have any essay related questions, you can message me in my Telegram ID in person. After prelims, again, we will relaunch the essay program. Okay. Yes. So I assume you don't have any questions. You are always welcome to message me on Telegram. All the very best. Thank you for attending all the sessions. Right. Please take care of yourself. Yes. Thank you, everyone.